Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Tasemere with the Blackout Live from New York. Before I get into today's segment, I just have to do a quick recap of the Black Wall Street Awards last night in Harlem, the heart of Harlem, on Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. It was amazing. Thank you so much to Donnie Glover for inviting us out there. He actually honored one of my co-founders, Emma, for the brunch pitch. But outside of that, there were so many amazing people in the room. I was just excited to be amongst Black excellence last night from various parts of industry, from medical to legal to housing to cannabis. We met one of the first self-made Black millionaires from the cannabis industry. It was just amazing the kind of folks that came out to receive their awards, the impact that they have had in the Harlem community in general. And then the broader audience was just like so full of dope people. It was amazing. If you guys haven't been able to attend a Black Wall Street Awards ceremony, you should definitely look into connecting with Donnie about how you can be a part of it in a big way, a small way, any kind of way. You definitely want to get in there. So I want to just jump now into the Blackout Live from New York and give you guys a little bit of what this segment is about. So, the Blackout Live from New York with me, your host, Tajmir. Purpose is to celebrate Black folks across the diaspora and to have an open dialogue about Black economics, how we reimagine trends in business, and explore the magic that we have. If you are new to tuning in, you know that I like to go with the receipts and look up articles and share it with you guys around what is going on. So really quickly today, we are definitely going to talk about what's happening at the border, because how can we ignore that? We definitely need to jump into that. I have some articles for you guys today. We definitely need to talk about this whole Gabby somebody who has gone missing that is taking up all the media coverage. But in addition to that, what happens when Black folks go missing? And it's a whole outcry of like, we don't get the same media attention for our Black women and just Black folks that go missing in America every day. We need to definitely do something about that. We know that I have definitely explored folks going back to Ghana, right? This has been an ongoing topic that I have explored over a couple of episodes about Black people just picking up either already being in Ghana and just staying there saying, F America, I'm not coming back, or Black folks actually trying to migrate there. And so we have more news on that. Also, TikTok stars are now using this platform to bring awareness to people of color that have gone missing. And then Snoop Dogg just dropped a bomb on people in the cryptocurrency world on Twitter, amongst other things. So I'm excited to bring with you guys an array of topics today. Let's jump right in and get it started. So let's start with the most pressing one right now on everybody's minds is what the heck is happening down here at this border. So let me share my screen so that we can all be on the same page. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. Definitely, if you want to chime in, let me know. I will send you the code through the comment section so that way you can definitely chime in and we can have a dialogue about what's going on. But now I'm just going to share my screen. So one moment, bear with me. So I hope you guys can see this. White House has ordered border authorities to clear out bridge by Friday, which was this past Friday, which was yesterday evening ahead of Black Lives Matter protests. So I guess they got a little shook about the photos that had been creeping around on social media and in different news outlets and publications that we weren't going to be taking this lightly, lying down at all. So definitely they decided to move people from the border into different sections of what's going on during or near the border. So they took people from the bridge and moved them someplace else for processing. It was said that processing is now taking about 15 minutes per person, which we know usually can take days and days, sometimes even months, right? Once you are detained, some people have gotten access into the States, while others have been deported back to where they are coming from, which most of these people are coming from Haiti. So I wanted to know, what are you guys thinking about this whole border situation? What's going on? What are you guys feeling about it? Do you feel like something should have been done a long time ago? I've also seen reports that our vice president has just decided to make some sort of investigation around what's going on the border, whereas this has been going on for a while now, and she's just decided to make some sort of investigation. What are you guys' thoughts, feelings? What are you thinking about? Let me know. I definitely want to jump into that. We can definitely come back to that, which leads me into Ghana. And so a lot of Black folks are like, bump this. I'm moving to Ghana because Ghana is welcoming me back to the motherland. And so this is where I'm going to go. And so I hope you guys can see my screen here. Please let me know. Going back to Ghana, Black Americans exploit identity living in Africa. As we know, or we should know, Ghana was part of the transatlantic slave trade and, capturing Black folks and enslaving them and selling them to America, right? And so this has been a thought of people thinking about going back to Africa, tracing their roots for a while now. This is not anything new. This is decades, maybe even years and years and years old, this thought here. But a lot of folks now are definitely considering just picking up and moving back to Ghana. Ghana has also said that they are willing to help people resettle in the country. So I definitely want to know you guys' thoughts around that. Would you, if given the opportunity, decide to take Ghana up on their offer and move back to Africa? If you could. And if you couldn't, what would you need to be in place in order to make that more tangible for you? What are your thoughts? Do you think that this is the answer, that Black folks or some Black folks or a population of Black people should take Ghana up on their offer and move back? Do you think, people have been dedicated to this country? When I say this country, I'm speaking about America, and you should have the right to stay here as much as anyone else. What are your thoughts around what's happening on the border? Those images, just to keep it a buck, were very gut-wrenching to me. I was like, what the hell is happening with people on horseback and all of this nonsense that's happening at the border? I had never seen anything like that. It made me go straight back to slavery. I had like something in my DNA was not responding to these images. I was very, very disappointed, hurt, angry, enraged when I saw these articles, but not just the articles, the actual footage and the photos of what was happening down there. It just was heartbreaking to me. So definitely want to know what you guys' thoughts are as I move into this Gabby chick. So if you haven't been listening, which I don't know how you could have missed it, because this has taken over probably every media outlet as well as social media. This white woman, I think in her early 20s, has gone missing from her fiance, and they basically have clogged up the media with this. There were some images also, or memes or something going around how when Black women go missing, we do not get the same kind of media coverage. But when any kind of person of color goes missing, whether woman or male, there is no kind of media attention covered for their stories. And so TikTok stars are actually using this platform, and I will pull this up to kind of, blow the whistle, whatever you want to call it, on Black folks that are going missing, right? So they are definitely going after this whole, how can we leverage the platforms that we have in order to showcase things that are going on in our neighborhoods with our folks? How do we shed light on that using the platforms that we currently have access to? Because Black people going missing is important as if anyone else has gone missing, right? So what do you guys think about leveraging this kind of platform in order to bring awareness to what is going on in the Black community as far as Black folks showing up missing? What are your thoughts around that? Here are my thoughts. I kind of feel that we should have been doing this. We should be taking over media. We should be creating our own media outlets and channels, paying much respect to Donnie Glover for creating Black News USA.com, because this is one of those outlets where we get to share what is going on in our communities. I'm stationed here in New York City, but I like to go all over the map and sometimes all over the globe to bring you guys what is happening each week. And so I think that this is important. I think that it's time for us to control our own media. For us, no one else is going to do it for us. And so we definitely need to be in the forefront. I'm happy that people are deciding to hijack platforms that are already out there that have a big followership, because that's also important. But I also think that we also need to start designing and figuring out how we can get into the media game outside of creating these stupid dance challenges, right? Bringing all of this awareness to other platforms. I really do think that while we are monetizing and exploring platforms that already exist, it will also be in our benefit for us to also create our own platforms, because what happens when you get kicked off of Facebook or Instagram, or they deem your information to be against their policies, right? Then you have lost access to all the followers and all of your influence that you had on these platforms, which brings me to Snoop Dogg definitely shaking up Twitter, y'all. He shook up the game and basically said he is behind this very viral Twitter account around cryptocurrency. And so when he made that kind of announcement, let me just throw this article up. People went crazy. They was like, wait, hold on. What is happening here? What is going on? So let me throw this article up for you guys right now. He basically has said that he is behind this account that so many people have been using for information around what is happening with this whole entire cryptocurrency ecosystem. Now, I'm not the best one to bring the news and digest what is going on in cryptocurrency, but if you're like me, you have at least heard about this new form of trading, right? This new form of, hey Emma, this whole new form of wealth building. And so he has definitely just announced that he is behind this entire account. And so he has shook up Twitter. People do not know how to respond. Emma, I put the link in the chat so you can join me here. People do not know how to respond to. Well, that's one thing I don't know. Emma, join the chat so we can talk about this. What gives the currency its value? To me, cryptocurrency is something. You're not ready? Get ready. Come on, join me. We don't know really what gives this value. It's like the stock market in a way, where people were trading stocks on the stock market. This whole cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, is similar to that. It uses a technology called blockchain, which is very challenging to understand if you don't come from a tech background. People talk very high level about it. Again, I am not an expert on this whole cryptocurrency, but basically you can put money in and it converts into tokens or coins or something like that. It's supposed to be super sophisticated and also very secure. And then you're supposed to be able to exchange this kind of system. And so it is very interesting to see. Kali, I also put the link in. Definitely feel free to join me, shed some light on this whole cryptocurrency jazz. And people have been talking about, NFTs are worth this amount and which stocks or NFTs you should purchase and when and trading cycles. And it's supposed to be easier for lay people to get into this whole investment game. For me, I'm super confused about it. I just saw that good morning, Rico. I just saw that Snoop Dogg is behind the face of this very prestigious Instagram platform, and people are definitely Emma, I have you on the screen now, so
Yeah,
join us. I'm excited about it.
I'm not
Um,
camera ready.
it's okay, but your voice ready, so it
I am
still
voice ready.
matters. And he is like shaking up the game about this, and I wanted to talk about it because I think that as we explore how Black folks can start to take over different types of ecosystems to help build economics, it's interesting to see us moving more into tech. Before we were in all these other different spaces, but people are deciding to go into tech a lot more. And this cryptocurrency seems to have evened out the playing field around investment. So, Emma, one, tell the people who you are, and then two, let me know your thoughts around this whole cryptocurrency jazz.
My name is Emma. I am the founder of United Black Businesses, also known as UB Businesses, and the co-founder along with Tasemere of the Brunch Pitch, which people like to say it's the Shark Tank of Black-owned businesses, and I like to say it's even better, but we're not going to get into semantics at this point. But as far as cryptocurrency, it's something that I've heard a lot about, and a lot of people have been telling me like you should get into it, and they've tried to explain it to me, but I think that I might be one of those people that's really stuck in like the old school ways of thinking about how currency works, right? So usually in my mind, and again, being very honest and blunt. I'm not a dumb person, but when I don't understand something, I don't understand it. So, I was taught, or what I know is that currency is usually backed by something, and it's usually like a valuable or rare natural resource. In most cases, gold, or that's, I guess, the original, right? And I'm sure things have changed since then. So where I get confused with cryptocurrency, which people have tried to explain to me, that it started off as like currency on games. So basically, you use this to purchase items and things like that on games. And I guess that was, so in my mind, I'm thinking you're buying the cryptocurrency with actual money, and then the cryptocurrency allows you to buy things within the game itself, which I get because my kids are gamers and they do this all the time. However, I'm not understanding how it is that people are buying into cryptocurrency, and then the currency, I guess, is starting to increase in value. So, like, what is it that's causing certain cryptocurrency to increase in value? Because it's supposed to be an investment, but once I invest in the cryptocurrency, what am I doing with this money? Is it that I'm just holding on to it to then sell it to somebody? Because it's weird. Because to me, if cryptocurrency is money, I'm selling money to someone else for other money. Am I just trading it because I need dollars and not crypto coins? Right. So, like, it would be really, really great to have someone to really just break it down. And so when you talk about the fact that we are often kind of behind on certain things, which I could kind of disagree in certain areas. I think we're behind in awareness of like what it is that we have and what we're able to do, but that's a whole nother live stream. Yeah, I gotta get into it. But I think that for those who understand it and are able to really break it down, I mean, really break it down, that if I brought my 9-year-old into this class or allowed him to watch this video, that he would understand how cryptocurrency works and where it gets its value and why it's important to purchase cryptocurrency, then we would be in a much better place because then we would understand the value. So, and then there's so many different types of cryptocurrency, right? So then which ones are valued more? How are you determining the value? If I have 150 crypto coins, what does that even mean? right? What kind of buying power does that give me?
I think we do have a host on Fridays out in the West Coast that does talk a lot about cryptocurrency and all that other thing. But I also think that this has been something that has been worked on for a long time, and we just got the
Breathe.
word or the buzz about what is going on. So all of the inner workings is a system that is designed for us to like we can't really catch up because it's a whole new technology. It is used on blockchain. So the only reason why I kind of have some familiarity around the software blockchain is because I used to attend a meetup which was called Legal Hackers. And so these were lawyers that was definitely trying to figure out how to hack different types of technologies and what has intellectual property and what doesn't. And that was the first time that I even heard the term Bitcoin. And I was like, wait, what? Like, Bitcoin, what do you do? And so it's almost like you have to have the money, like you said, you convert it into this coin, but then the coin has predetermined value on the stock market exchange, but you don't really know who gives that coin value, and then how much of the coin do you need to create or do you need to buy in order to have X amount of value, and then how do you trade it, right? Like, so what happens if I decide that, like, okay, I bought enough Bitcoin, I invested in this, I understand it, I think I'm sitting on $500,000 worth of Bitcoin. How do you trade it in for your $500,000? Like, is $500,000 in Bitcoin equivalent to $500,000 in cash? I don't really know, right? I don't really understand.
Then what is the point of buying the Bitcoin, which is supposed to be currency, to then let it grow, to then go back to the original currency that you bought it with, right?
I don't know, unless they're trying to say that this is the new way that we're going to do currency.
So that is exactly what people are saying. But my question is, and that's a big question, is that who are the individuals or the powers that be that are determining the values of these cryptocurrency? Not only that, why do we have so many popping up? How do you create cryptocurrency?
I don't know. I think people are creating these blockchains and they are like doing something in this infrastructure that we really don't understand, which is why when Snoop Dogg came out saying that he is behind the face of this NFT investment jazz, it shook up Twitter, because I'm sure in people's minds they weren't thinking that a black man was talking about this whole investment thing. But I also think that they definitely didn't think that a rapper was talking about this whole investment thing. So they're like, wait, what? What has happened here? Which goes into the next topic about rappers really changing the game of cannabis. And people really don't know what to do about that either, because this is a whole nother industry that wasn't designed for black folks to really take a part of, right? They're like, you were the dope man on the block, right? But now black folks are like, yo, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to actually contribute to this growing industry so I can make some money too, right? So this is the article, how rappers are addressing cannabis reform through their weed brands. And I thought it was interesting to talk about it because we often don't hear that rappers are this in tune with what is going on. But it also seems that these rappers are getting into Bitcoin, they're getting into cannabis, they're getting into traditional brick and mortar businesses, and then they also are doing the usual, which is like, oh, I'm going to get an endorsement from Nike or from wherever. But it's interesting to see that rappers are like at the forefront of this cannabis and Bitcoin thing. What do you think about that?
But you know what's funny is that I think that we also, I want to say, underestimate our rappers and our entertainers. If you think about it, you have some rappers and entertainers that kind of have disappeared. And they didn't just disappear because they are broke. They disappeared because whoever was on their financial team, whoever was on their marketing team, whoever was in their strategy team, let them know that your rap career is not the is all be all. So I just wanted to put that out there because there are a lot of rappers that own a lot of businesses, and they don't necessarily they're not necessarily out there saying, doing commercials or just advertise as their business. They're making their investments, they're having their businesses, and the businesses are thriving. But as far as the cannabis industry, that just made sense. And to be honest, I'm surprised that they didn't do that sooner, especially since it's legal now in New York State, but it's been legal in many other states for a while now. So the fact that
Chicago, last week I talked about Chicago's mayor basically saying that she wanted to lock these gangsters and gang members up for wreaking havoc in the community, right? This was just last week, and I wish I could readily pull up that article.
Okay.
But now she is now saying this week, just 7 days later, hey, I want to turn downtown Chicago into allow people to open up pot stores, and it just got passed through city council. So I wanted to definitely discuss what is going to be happening in Chicago that we know as lay people. From what the media portrays, Chicago's a very dangerous place. It's all this crime happening. Not sure if we need to believe every single thing that they're putting out about Chicago because they own the media outlets. However, the city council has approved plans to ease zoning rules for marijuana businesses to open up in most of downtown Chicago. What in the world is going on, and how is this
money?
Chicago?
Money, that's it. It's money. They figured out how to make money off of it, and now all of a sudden it's okay. We're gonna create a space, right? And to kind of go back to the rapper thing, it's crazy because they've been advertising cannabis probably their entire career. They've been marketing cannabis their entire career. So that makes sense. And now that they are, in a position where they're selling it legally, they have their own legal brands. Now people in Chicago can buy, right? Put it in the shops, make the money because they don't have to do the work. The people in Chicago don't have to do the work. You have these rappers who have their own brands now in these new Chicago, smoke shops. The brand they are doing the work. So why not? Why not open up the shops? Now that you have faces to these brands that people are going to definitely run to your shops and purchase.
But now what's going to happen to the Black folks that were living in downtown Chicago with these zoning rules? They might use eminent domain to push them out. Is this the new frontier of pushing out Black folks from downtown Chicago?
Well, we already know how those things work out because we are very, very aware of what gentrification looks like. So we know that might look like a payout. Like, oh, look at all this money. Ooh, just go over there, right?
Yep.
Or it might be, oh, let's pull up your record. You have offenses. These are the consequences. Or you could just leave, right?
Yep.
So there's going to be so many options that are going to be offered to people. I just really hope that we make very smart choices. And I think part of it is being aware. So I appreciate you even bringing that up. That is something that's going to happen. People are going to be knocking at your door. So make the right choice. A lot of money looks tempting. A lot of opportunities seem tempting. But we have to continue to focus on the bigger picture. Why is it that they're doing this? If they're offering you $1 million for you to leave, that means whatever it is that you have is worth more than $1 million.
Of course. Of course, and we've seen it happen time and time again. I was just I don't even want to say surprised, but when you start following things, it's like it happens so quickly because just last week, like I said, she was talking about putting people away for the crimes that they commit, and she was talking about fining them. I think $10,000 or something like that, right? For each infraction. And so now when you flip it, we also talked about cannabis is like the new lotto when people used to run numbers back in the day. And then the government came in and figured out like how we're going to create lotto. And now you don't have the number joints. Now the government has figured out how to make money off of cannabis. So now it's not illegal anymore. Now it's going to be legal. Now we can tax it. Now we can control who can get into it. We can control what's going on. So is this Chicago's grand idea of one bringing more economics into their city, but also controlling or having some legislation to control the taxes and the people and the places and the things? And how is that going to really impact downtown Chicago? I also had an article about a guy who owns a coffee shop that talks about mental health in the coffee shop. So almost like trying to make people, and he's also located in Chicago. So Chicago has been having a lot of mixed things happening where people tend to focus on the violence, but it's also some innovation happening in Chicago. So I'm just wondering what the heck is going to continue to happen with this mayor, because she's firing people, she's going against the grain. I don't know if it's a good thing, a bad thing, just a thing that's just happening. I have no clue, but I'm very interested in what is happening there, because it seems all of these things seem to be playing into Black folks really wanting to level up in a way that we haven't had opportunities to before, and ways that we can be creative about doing it to bring generational wealth, but we are also using platforms that we don't control. So earlier I was talking about TikTok, and some stars on TikTok are now leveraging that platform to highlight people of color that have gone missing because of this whole Gabby thing. People are saying like Black folks go missing all the time. We don't get as much media coverage. So now they're deciding to leverage TikTok to highlight people of color that have gone missing. But I'm also thinking like people need to do things like what Donnie has done here on this platform and create their own platforms, because what happens if TikTok closes your account down? Then what are you going to do, right? What if they say that that's against their policies or something like that? And then the last thing is that Goldman Sachs, the last thing I wanted to talk about today was that Goldman Sachs basically is supporting Black women in STEM as part of their racial reform measures. And it's very interesting how they pick the industries that they're going to support you in. So I'm guessing STEM is now the biggest thing on the block. So now Black women that go into STEM, they're going to support Black women in that because maybe that's okay. But Black people are everywhere across all these industries. So I'm always challenged by how do they choose which industry they're going to really support you in? Is it the ones that they deem are okay, that you're not really threatening them in those spaces, so they'll let you in? I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it could be a few things. I think it could be what you're saying, right? It could also be an area where they see, we're fighting to be in those places, or maybe we're not fighting to be in those places and we're getting there anyway. So might as well say, oh, thank you so much now, right? So anybody who does kind of get into those spaces that they are supporting, it's like, oh, you're welcome. You see, it's because we helped you while you got there versus no, I didn't. I got there because I'm good at this. I was going to get here regardless. But now you have this like, oh, you see, with our support, you can do it. And it's like, no, not at all. We just need you to leave us alone and let us do what we do, and we will be fine. Right. So I think it's a combination of things. I think it is, maybe spaces where they don't feel as threatened. But I think part of it is to take credit, right? Because we can do nothing without them. Nothing. So taking credit for that is kind of like put them like, oh, because we gave this support and we are, encouraging women to get into STEAM, Black women into STEAM. This is why you see an uptake in Black women in STEAM. And it's like, no, they were
No,
already on
because
this path.
And we already have platforms. It's like the ones that don't get the attention. I just attended a Black in Tech conference that was free the entire week. It was virtual. It was Black folks from all over the world that were doing software and STEM and engineering and product management and blah, 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 blah. And they were all in one place. And you had a chance to connect with other Black folks in the tech industry. And I think there's another summit similar to this that's going to be happening in Canada, but it's also virtual, right? So it's almost like we are creating these spaces. But again, to Donnie's point, media can be leveraged in so many ways that if you don't know that there's a Black in Tech event going on for a week, then you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to run to this Goldman Sachs thing. Like a lot of the reviews that I was seeing on LinkedIn, which is where I found the event at, Black people were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that there was a space created for me. And they were literally putting up in their bios or in their posts, like, listen, I'm an HR rep for Pinterest, for Facebook, for TikTok, whatever. Shoot me your resume. Let me help you out. And it was like just amazing to see that Black people were mobilizing again, but we are also beholden to these platforms that we don't really own or control, because LinkedIn can also say at some point, we don't want you to do that on our platforms. And so now what are you going to do? So I'm just excited to bring some of this stuff to people because it's, we all don't know everything. And so to know where we can go for different stuff, I will find that new tech event that is going on so I can let people know, could you go to it from your house? And I do it often and just meet different people on the Slack channel. But it's been very interesting to see these things move in the tech and cannabis space.
So I was going to also say that on that same note, right, being that this is a tech group, then that's what we need to do. That tech group needs to collaborate and figure out how do we create this platform where they can all live, right? And you almost have like a tech section, an education section, and then that basically gives us the ability to connect with other Black people who are doing the same things that we're doing, or even the things that we are looking to get into.
Yeah, because that brings about economics. We're able to increase our economics in a way that we weren't before, because we also know that this is about connections. But what I like about these spaces is that it pushes you to think outside of the state or the country that you're currently in. So I shared with Emma that I met a Black guy in Canada that does cybersecurity, and I was like, oh, we should talk, right? Like, let's communicate, because COVID has broken down the stigma of like we have to be next to each other. Now we know that we can connect and do more things like this and not necessarily be in the same space. So I'm excited about that. Anything else you want to talk about, Emma? We got a couple more minutes here.
No, I think that was it. It's about also how the pandemic and COVID actually gave us the opportunity to figure out that there are a lot more of us out there than we thought, because oftentimes being so separated or just walking past people and not knowing what they're doing, what they're into, what things they're trying to start, really allowed us to see that there are a lot of us out there. And I think that gives pride, but we definitely need to be like active and cognizant of the fact that we are using other people's platforms, right? And so we need to figure out how do we create our own platforms. So if we're complaining about prices of real estate, well then let's figure out how we can create our own real estate. So I was actually having a conversation with someone earlier and telling them that my dream and ultimately my goal is that we create our own community. And it's been done before, right? If you read Donnie Glover's book, Black Wall Street, you'll see it's been done several times before. So we need to, I want to say, even honor those that came before us that did those things and make it better and make it last, and don't let them take it away from us again.
Of
So
course. So I spoke about Donnie Glover's event last night about how I was so excited to be there.
amazing.
I opened it up with like this was if you haven't been able to go to a Black Wall Street event, you definitely need to contact Donnie Glover and figure out how you can participate because it's a little challenging to capture the energy in the space
Mhm.
where you meet so many different people that's in different industries that have really been committed to the Black community, so you don't feel so alone in the work that you're doing, because sometimes it can be isolating, especially when you have folks saying, well, what about everybody else? and
Mhm.
and all money spends, right? So you don't want to be focused on Black economics or Black ecosystems, but when you see people that have been focused on that, from legal representation to healthcare to housing, like that woman that fights against slumlords here in New
Mhm.
York City, you know that you can make some decent money and do something that is passionate. You don't have to give in to like the powers that be, like that Black gentleman that is a self-made millionaire from the cannabis industry. These are things that
Absolutely.
we don't really hear about, but it's definitely possible. So I was saying I was excited to be in the room.
So
And
was
you got
I.
your and you got your award yesterday.
I
Congratulations.
did. Thank you. And I forget who, I was telling my sister, I'm like, it's kind of crazy because I was honored with an award, but I was amongst some like really, really vet people, meaning people that have been doing the work that they've been doing for our community probably for longer than I've been live. And it was most definitely an honor. It was an amazing experience and also very inspiring because there's a lot that's going on. And sometimes when you are fighting for what's right, it
Mm-hmm.
can feel very tiresome and it can also feel daunting. But seeing those people in the room and like just hearing their stories, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to fight for what's right, even if it's not easy. So it was
Of
an amazing
course.
event.
Of course. Thank you so much for joining in today. We went a little over my time, but we actually are on time because I'm supposed to be here for about an hour. But I had such a great time. Hopefully you join me again on another segment. Today was Tasemere Live from New York with the Blackout. We talked about a few different topics from the White House now, and if you want to chime in, the White House went ahead and decided to move the people from Haiti that was underneath the bridge by yesterday to someplace else for them to go through processing. Processing now is only taking about 15 minutes because they were shook from the Black Lives Matter protest that they knew was going to be going down. So they was like, let's get ahead of this curve because we don't want no smoke. So that we definitely talked about that. Then we talked about Snoop Dogg and his cryptocurrency persona on Twitter. We also talked about Ghana now opening up the doors for Black people to want to move there, which I have explored Ghana before. But Ghana is now saying, like, if you're Black and you're tired of being in America, we were part of the transatlantic slave trade. We will help you resettle here in Ghana. So that's also an option for some Black folks now to think about, what would it take for you to maybe go back to Africa, right? What would life be like if you decided to do that? What would encourage you to do it? What would you need a little bit more information about in order to make those kind of moves? Super excited to explore that a little bit more because that's a proposition that I think has been around for a while, but people are just now starting to take it a little bit more seriously.
Well,
And
I
then
think we should, sorry, I don't mean to cut you, but
yes,
if we were to do that, I would love that segment, but I would love to speak to someone who is from Ghana and lives here, and also someone who maybe is from Ghana, maybe moved here, moved back, or someone who was from here and just moved to Ghana. Like I would love to
we
hear the perspective of those individuals because it definitely sounds like something I would also consider.
We should definitely work on that. I know a few people that have migrated from Ghana here, but I don't know many people that have migrated from America to Ghana, especially if they were American born here and had no real connection outside of their ancestry and was like, listen, I'm going to just take my chances and just pick up and go to Ghana. So that will also be super, super interesting to talk about. So I will work on exploring some folks. I know Donnie and another host, Michael Haney, have traveled to Africa quite a couple of times, but I don't know if they specifically went to Ghana. I know that Michael Haney went to Lagos, which is in Nigeria, and I think he also went to Tanzania. But I can explore what that feeling might have felt like, and how would you want to go, and what would you need to go. And then we also spoke about Goldman Sachs and their STEM. They're like handing out STEM to Black women who want to get into STEM. And then Chicago, we have to definitely keep following Chicago, because Chicago is going to be a very interesting city. The mayor there is doing some things that can be considered very controversial on some of her policies. It makes me say, like, what the hell is really happening here? Last week, she was talking about locking up people in gangs. Now she's talking about creating a downtown for cannabis. I don't really know what's happening, but definitely check me out again next week, Saturday. We are moving back a little bit. I've spoke about it before. We will be on at 10:15, not 10 a.m., but still every Saturday here at 10:15, the live from New York with the Blackout with your host, Tasemere. Thank you for joining me.